So we're going to talk about a couple stories today. The first one is going to be this Sean O'Malley. I know it says that he beat up Adin Ross, but I think this is actually an example of a streamer who has put in the work and actually really is demonstrating how good you can get as a, creator who then wants to take on combat sports. Like, yes, of course, Sean O'Malley wins this sparring exchange, but when you watch it, it is kind of uncanny how good Adin Ross has gotten in the short amount of time that he's been training. So I want to show you guys that. It's fun to watch Sean O'Malley beat people up, but I do think, credit where credit's due. I think Adin Ross is going to be a very formidable opponent whenever he puts someone kind of at his own level in front of him. I think the other guy should be very concerned. I think he's going to catch people off guard. He's really improved a lot. So we're going to look at that. And then we're going to look at Joaquin Buckley going off on you-know-who, Ariel Helwani, and we'll discuss recent backlash against Ariel and see if there's any, see how we feel about the criticism, because I'm going to be honest with you, I only watched the very beginning where he said you like to pit fighters against each other, and I turned it off so that I could give you guys an honest, on-the-spot reaction to the criticism that Ariel takes, and so we'll talk about that. Then I want to talk about a very, what's the right way to put this? Sean Strickland is being proposed to fight Chris Weidman by Anthony and Bisping. And I saw that, and here's the thing. Anthony is very good friends with Weidman. That's just so everybody's clear on that. I'm not sure what Bisping's relationship is to him, but I'm very confused in general about where Sean Strickland is being seen related to what he's going to do next, because he beat Ariel. I'm saying Ariel, Jesus. He beat Izzy handily, right? Izzy, dominant champion. Sean whipped his ass, then lost a razor close decision to Drickus, which some people thought he won. And then now we're talking about him fighting Chris Weidman, who is 3-7 in his last 10 fights and is coming off, a performance that I thought was very impressive, but ended with eye pokes. I don't know. If that is for real where Sean Strickland is at, and I don't know if he is or not, but if that really is where he's at, then we need to acknowledge the fact that he has talked his way into career. What's the word that you're allowed to say? You're definitely not, if you slit your wrists, the word for that, that. Okay. You're not allowed to say that word on YouTube generally without getting deranked. So we'll call it bluicide. Okay. Career bluicide is essentially what we're looking at in terms of Sean's mouth. If this is seriously where the UFC sees him, right? I don't know, but if they're like, yeah, Chris Weidman seems like a reasonable matchup for him, I'll be like, wow, they really do not want to have him on a platform. He has said to, but anyway, we'll talk about that. So, and then if we have some time, we'll talk about Chris Weidman because he had some things to say. And also just really quick, check this out, dude, in case you guys didn't see this. Good God. That's Weidman's eye after the Bruno Silva fight. That is so gnarly. It looks like it's out of a video game, that. He looks like a comic book villain. That is a gnarly eye injury, dude. I hope that his eye is going to be okay because that looks terrible. Anyway, so let's start off with this Sean O'Malley and Adin Ross video because, again, I just want to stress how impressive Adin Ross is in this video. Don't worry. He's obviously going to lose. He's fighting against Sean O'Malley, but just look at, this kid's got talent, man. Watch this. See? That's what I'm talking about right there. That kick right out of the gate. You're like, wow, this guy has really, clearly he's been training really hard. This guy's going to be good. Look at that. You don't want to get hit with that, dude. You don't want to get hit with that kick. Now watch this. He also shows some really stellar defense here in a second. Watch this. So he went with the turtle up, and then look, watch this. He falls, and then when someone's towering over you, see right there. That is historically impenetrable defense. So for those of you who are, developing your martial arts game, if someone is ever above you in position, especially on their feet, about to rain down punches, put your back towards them and lay there still. So I'm not sure who invented that exact technique, but I do know that it has a nearly 100% success ratio of not getting hit hard. So again, you turn over on your back, face your back to your opponent, and then you lay totally still. They call it the dead man. So that's dead man defense. Lay there dead still. Your opponent thinks you're not alive, and then so they don't hit you really hard. Let's see what else he's got, because I'm impressed. Oh yeah. See, like that's the they call that the ear to shoulder runaway. And then you just run away. So like you don't face your opponent. You want to make sure you put your ear to your shoulder and kind of scurry away. It's more of a scurry than a run, ear to shoulder, and then you scurry, because then even if someone does land a kidney kick on you, kind of like Sean did, throwing about 10%, generally speaking, it's not going to hurt very much because you have your ear attached to your shoulder. As long as your ear is touching your shoulder, it's not going to hurt very much. And, there's some very wise martial artists who figured that out a long time ago. It might have been Bruce Lee. I don't know about you guys, but if Adin Ross wanted to do some influencer, MMA, I wouldn't take that fight. And I wouldn't take it because I value my safety too much. I don't want to find out the hard way that, that kick that he was doing at the beginning has developed just a little bit better to where he could potentially fold my leg in half, because if he gets a little bit better, it might look like this. All right. So in case you guys are as dense as, I don't know, think of something real dense. I'm obviously joking. Adin Ross sucks. Sucks on a level that is like, what is he doing? Why is he doing this? You know what I mean? Like, why is he doing this? Like, I understand if someone knows they suck and they go in there and they actually try, like go in there and try and get worked. That's kind of funny. But like going in there and I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand what you're doing. But anyway, let's, maybe you have access to Sean O'Malley, actually, have him teach you how to do something, because seems like a better use of your time than whatever the fuck that was. Okay, so let's look at what Bisping and Anthony said about Chris Weidman fighting Sean Strickland next, and then I will talk about this. And I listen. I think I know what's going on here. I think Sean Strickland has demonstrated that popularity is not everything. You actually can go too hard on the mic and talk your way into career oblivion. Not even just like popularity, but also fighting, like fight wise, like, dude, he's earned it from the fight perspective, from a popularity perspective. And yet the people in the know are A, not giving a title shot, and B, recommending that he fights a guy who's 3-7 in his last 10. So let's watch this.
Skill for skill, I think he can compete with everybody in that division up to the very top. But It's just, can he stay healthy enough to put a run together?
Well, I would like to see him get a high-profile matchup next because, given the pedigree, given the history, given what he's done for the sport, he certainly deserves it. So I'm just looking at
with injuries too. Even if you think about, as you're looking at the rankings, even if you think about just his injuries and him trying to stay healthy, even slow rolling him through the bottom of the rankings is dangerous, because that's just more opportunities to get hurt. That's more training camps. If you can get him a big name halfway up, maybe
give him Sean Strickland.
Fuck it.
Sean Strickland, Chris Weidman, the All-American against, here's the thing, guys, American, right? Do it.
That's probably a really good fight.
That's a good fight. That's a good matchup.
Really good fight. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Chris Weidman, Sean Strickland, let's go.
I'm going to text him out right now.
Oh, he should start calling him out.
Okay, so 2 things. A, Bisping is not good at well, actually not good. He what's the right way to put this? He will let you know exactly where he stands on everybody. You know what I mean? Like Bisping, that's why I love that guy, man. I like people that will just tell you exactly what they think all the time, even if they're trying to be polite about it. Like even if they're trying to be nice. If Bisping doesn't like you, you fucking know it, dude. You know what I mean? And I don't think Bisping has a whole lot of smiles for fucking Strickland's online style. And I mean, listen, like I've been saying, I like Strickland because he says, like I like people that say whatever they think. But recently, like I've said, he has been, Ryan Garcia, you're rich and you're famous. Quit being such a pussy. It's embarrassing. Mental health, give me a break. And then literally 1 week later, he's like, listen, guys, I'm rich, I'm famous, and I'm still struggling, man. I'm really struggling with mental health. You're all, what? Like, it makes you think almost that, like, sometimes when he's yelling at people, he's just, like, yelling at himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's getting mad about this. You're like, who are you really mad at here? Because if you follow this up with, this is how I feel, it makes me feel like Jordan Peterson should do an episode with Sean Strickland. I'm totally serious about that. Jordan Peterson, he treats those, he treats those podcast episodes like an intake for his psychology, profession. That's why they're so interesting, dude. But like, again, I've said this a million times and I will continue to say it. I think Jordan Peterson is the smartest person on planet Earth. Most well-read, most credible, makes the best points, the most logical. He loses his temper sometime, which makes me like him even more. I just watched almost that whole entire thing between him and Destiny. Destiny is much smarter than I gave him credit for. I will absolutely say that. The only place where actually, you know what? I don't even want to get into that whole podcast episode. It was so good that I will go down a rabbit hole talking about it, but you guys should definitely watch that. But nonetheless, I think if Jordan Peterson got Sean Strickland in and they did a session, it would be fascinating. Because he's not going to let him get away with that stuff that, like, Sean Strickland goes on Rogan and he ends up telling stories about, like, smash this guy's house, put a shotgun to his head. Like, dude, Jordan Peterson's not going to let the conversation go there. He is going to force Strickland to talk about things that actually matter in his personal life. He'll probably help him. Honestly, I really believe that. Like, I think Jordan Peterson will help me. I think he would help anyone who, I don't know. That's my honest belief about Jordan Peterson is I think he would help anybody who actually went in there looking to learn about themselves and potentially, improve. But anyway, so as it relates to MMA though, Strickland in the conversation for a fight with Weidman when this is Weidman's last, this is Weidman since 2015. This win against Kelvin Gastelum in 2017 was very impressive. I know exactly where I was. I was on my family reunion. I forced my family to turn this on and, they were not, I'm like, this is kind of before MMA was so mainstream. And like my uncle, who's like a huge sports fan and would certainly not have said anything about boxing, but back then he was like, why are we watching this? Like it was as if it was 1995 and I had just turned on like UFC 3, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, that was a really great performance there, especially, grappling against Kelvin Gastelum, who's an Olympic wrestler. Very, very impressive. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I actually don't remember that Amari fight. I obviously watched it because I watch all of them, but I don't remember that fight. And then the Bruno Silva fight, I thought he looked great, but he's coming. I mean, like, I don't even know if there's anything else to say about this. I'm not saying Chris Weidman's not a great fighter. He is a great fighter. He's had some very bad luck with injuries, so on and so forth, etc. But it is what it is, man. Like Sean Strickland, you know what? Let me look at this real quick. So like, let's say that we switched this up and we went Sean Strickland. I mean, I realize that if we look at his, it's not, he's lost some fights too, but it's like, look at his really. So like now we go back to 2018 for him. Okay. Win, knocked out by Pereira. Totally legit. And then Cannonier, razor thin, absolutely could have gone Sean's way. And then the Dricus one. The only real loss that he has is against Pereira. One loss in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fights. And he just beat the brakes off of Israel Adesanya. And, as the champion, in my opinion, got hosed in a decision. Could have gone either way. Like I said, I thought Dricus won the first time I watched it. I thought Sean won the second time. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I would highly, if I was his manager and I realized his manager would probably be pulling his hair out trying to, make suggestions to fucking Sean about his behavior, I would imagine that he is fighting a very uphill battle with that stuff. But nonetheless, I mean, I would just be like, dude, do whatever you want. But if you want a title shot, you got to scale it back. All right, now I got to weigh in on this Ariel and Joaquin Buckley thing. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to have John McCarthy and Josh Thompson talk about it. I'm going to react to what they said because I literally have not seen anything on this whatsoever. So I want to watch what they said and kind of pretend that I'm in their conversation. So let's see this thing. And I mean, I've seen what Joaquin Buckley said. Obviously, I have an opinion there, but then we're going to do it like this.
What are you talking? I mean, tell me right now. I want to hear.
Well, just with a lot of fighters, man. You've been in the business for a long time. Obviously, you have the respect what you do, and you do it very well. You got a lot of, facts, right, that you keep down about the UFC and about different fighters. But me personally, I feel like when we come on your show, you try to use us as a weapon against the UFC, right? You use your platform, but you try to set us up low key, right?
For real.
With certain questions that fighters you already know, if we have those conversations and what we try to talk about could have us get in trouble with who we work for.
Like what? Give me an example.
There's a lot of things, man. You know better for myself.
No, I don't, because I don't agree.
What I'm talking about.
I don't agree. Honestly, I don't agree. I mean, been doing the show since 2009. You think I'm trying to make the fighters look bad and do this show for 15 years?
That's not what he said. That's not what he said. It's not what he said.
Years I've been doing this show. I have the fighters on because I love the fighters and respect the fighters and want to give them an opportunity to tell their story and, you know, be able to learn more. I want to learn more, and I hope that other people learn more when they hear from you guys. So I'm not trying to weaponize anything. That would be crazy, and I would be wasting my life doing that for 15 years. That would be a futile mission on my part. The UFC is much bigger than me.
Yeah. We all know this.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm happy that we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
No, you're not. No, you are not.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Well,
so
then I put there is an example, right? And you really have to kind of trust your interpretation of these instances, right? Or based on your experience of what you interview with Nate, but with Ariel, sorry. But you know, like I say, I played a full 10-minute compilation for you guys prior of just people getting mad at Ariel for what they felt as provocative thing.
Listen, dude. So here, before I even hear what their take is, okay, here is mine. I think you have two factors that converge when it comes to Ariel. All right. Now, if I have ever gotten into the weeds on how you build a successful channel on YouTube, there are a handful of ways. Let's just say an MMA channel, right? There's a handful of ways to do it, but ultimately, you need people to click on your stuff, right? You need people to click on your stuff. So you can either get exceptional at sensationalized, titles and thumbs, and then you have to make sure that your videos are solid enough that even though, it's like, oh, wow, I thought like the world may have blown up. And it's like, no, Sean Strickland just kind of blew up his own career in this case, and they're like, all right, but I'm entertained. As long as they click and they're entertained and the title accurately represents the video, then that's one way to do it. Ariel's version of that is get the person he's interviewing to say something that he can then say, oh, this guy said the UFC is garbage and that Dana White is a thief. Bam, clickety click, 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 click. Because Ariel knows what everybody knows, which is like if he just has some rando fucking UFC fighter on that no one cares about and they just kind of go, I came up training from when I was 6 until I was, now, and I've just started seeing success and I'm really excited about that. Who the fuck is going to watch that? But then also, he of course has a vendetta against the UFC. Of course. As you would if someone directly tried to fuck you with the, like your fuck your career. You know what I mean? Like, of course. He tried to fuck, so yeah, I don't think that he can help himself, but then also he 100% is a huge pot stirrer, and I don't think he can help but put his politics into it also, and with Jamal, actually the Jamal Hill thing, that's more about fucking Dana than it was about anything else, but let's continue.
And then the most recent one I could find was where he was asking MVP about Dana White shooting down these fun like walkout things that people like to do, these creative walkouts, and kind of asking MVP, do you want me to just play that part for you as well?
I also couldn't tell how he felt about the walkout and if he's going to try to strip that away as well. He was asked about that in the Michelle Pajeda walkout, which was different than yours, but obviously unique. Yeah. I love that stuff. I want more of that stuff. Yeah. But he infamously or notoriously has said he doesn't like that stuff. So what do you think, based on what he said?
Yeah, he seems like he's against it. And this is something that I always suspected in particular. Anytime I thought of seeing myself in the UFC, I thought I may piss him off a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, if I do what I do in the cage on the other side, he will allow for even things that annoy him to exist.
Exactly what I was just about to say when he said like, oh, I might piss him off a little bit. I literally was just gonna pause it and be like, but if you put on good fights, Dana's gonna let that shit slide. In
my opinion. So I just got to keep making sure I put on good performances so that it's almost like I have to pay in the meter. Yeah. I got that, and those KOs and flashy attractive wins.
Yeah, and I think we can wrap that.
Yeah, everything he just said is that's the fact.
Yeah,
look, you got to go back and take a look at. And I'm talking about the walkouts right now. I'm not talking about the Ariel thing. Back when Dana first started with the UFC, and him and Lorenzo were trying to figure things out. Look, they were putting a lot of money into walkouts.
Yeah. Dude, the best walkout ever, in my opinion, is Tito's walkout for Tito versus Shamrock 1. And you cannot find that fucking walkout anywhere on the internet except on my channel when it was just like my personal channel 100 years ago. And I literally filmed it on a fucking cell phone, filmed my TV on a cell phone, and then uploaded it just kind of like, here it is. And it's like the worst version of it ever, to the point where the UFC has just let it slide all these years that it's up. But that is like the only, you cannot find that fucking walkout anywhere. It's like they've erased it from the history books. And that is my favorite walkout ever. Fireworks, the whole nine. It was like a stage that elevated. It was so sick.
Big time fireworks. I can tell you that, I stood there at UFC 30 and I was in the Mark Edis Arena before, this is the day before the fights. And, Lorenzo's down there and I'm standing there talking to him. He says, do you realize that what you're going to see right now is going to cost me $50,000? And I go, what's costing you $50,000? He goes, for the fire marshal to see the fireworks that we're going to use, I've got to do a run through. It's costing me $50,000 for that firework display. And so it's going to cost me $100,000 because then I'll do it on the night for Tito's walkout. And so they do the firework. I said, that's $50,000. Yeah. But they did try to make a big thing of the walkouts. And if you remember, BJ Penn kind of put his own spin on their walkout because they wanted this, cool walkout. BJ Penn.
So that UFC 30 was for Tito versus Evan Tanner. So it's probably exactly the same thing. And then, oh my God, dude. Do you know who the main event of UFC 32 was? Tito versus Elvis Sinisic. There was like no fucking talent in the UFC back then, dude. It's so crazy. And then UFC 33, Jesus Christ, Tito Ortiz headlined 3 of 4 fights back there, or main events back then. Tito versus Vladimir Matyshenko was 33. 34 was Couture against Hizzo again. Let's see what 35 was. I'm just curious because I'm trying to find Tito versus Shamrock, which one that was. I can't remember exactly what. I know. I'm pretty sure it's 2002 because I have not missed an event since then. No, not 37, not 37, not 37.5. That was. Oh, I remember that one. Vitor versus Chuck. Matt Hughes and Carlos Newton. Right. Jesus, where the hell is this fucking thing? There we go. UFC 40, November 21st, 2002. That was a wild that was such a sick walkout. You know what? I've probably been talking long enough. I love you guys. I'm going to tap out. And underneath this bandage, you will see a new tattoo of my logo. Love you guys. Bye.